work is no longer something that you do to support your life. Work is an extension of who you are.
Hi Saurav, welcome to the show.
Hey Shrey, I'm glad to be here.
The first question is something that comes in everyone's mind. What is this term digital nomad? We see hashtag digital nomad in everyone's pictures these days. I am guilty of the same. But you're a real digital nomad. Can you please define this term for us?
Digital nomads are people who are using their location independence to live and work from wherever they want to. And you rightly say that it's a bit misconstrued word because it's everyone is using it in their hashtag. The ideal digital nomads are those who they don't have to travel all around the year and all around the world.
Right.
Even if they're traveling 1-2 months in a year and using their location freedom to work from places they like, they are a digital nomad. The whole idea is to use the option of remote work to be at the place where you want to be, right? Location should no more restrict you from living the kind of life you want. I do see that a lot of people feel like, hey, digital nomads are the people who are very, very adventurous and they're traveling all around the year, but they're very different. The real digital nomads are very different from the Instagram influencers that you see on your feed.
There are two types of digital nomads basically now. There are people who work in the corporate, and because they are 100% working 100% remotely, they can work from anywhere. But the second category of digital nomad, which you fall into, are basically creators, entrepreneurs, people doing things that are out of the whole corporate gambit. You passed out of IIT Kharagpur in 2008 and you had a shining corporate career ahead of you. How did you decide to become a digital nomad, and what was that moment? How did it take shape?
Yeah, I had a pretty comfortable corporate life. I was into 9 to 5 for 5 years. First 3 years, I was in a location-based job. Next 2 years, I was working remotely, but still I was part of 9 to 5. But after 5 years of 9 to 5, I took a gap year in 2012. I call it a year full of Sundays, and that changed everything. After 1 year of traveling, I felt like traveling is more fun. And so I decided to have small businesses which allow me to work from anywhere.
But you had a remote job back in 2010.
2009 to 2011. Yeah, 2009 to 2011, I was working remotely for a British startup. But yeah, it was still a 9 to 5 job. It was location independent though. So you can say it was a transition. I had a good transition period of 2 years from 9 to 5 location-based cubicle job to completely nomadic lifestyle.
I think you must have experienced a lot of ups and downs, right? When you thought of doing it, and then now you've been a digital nomad for, I think, 8 years, right? So there must have been a lot of ups and downs. Can you tell us a few challenges that you face that any digital nomad would face when they start off, especially if they're not working a corporate job?
I think the biggest challenge is to deal with the loneliness. It's a very lonely lifestyle when you start working for yourself. Most of the places you'll be on your own. If you're constantly on the move, you won't be able to make friends offline that easy. So you will need to be okay with yourself all the time, most of the time. I think that's one biggest challenge. The second thing is I think in professional life also, not everyone is very comfortable with being their own boss and, making decisions on their own all the time. So that's another thing someone has to learn as they go about this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you'll have bad days. You wake up feeling shit and you have to wade your way through the day. You don't know what's going to happen next, and your old friends who are having a 9 to 5 job might actually have a negative influence on you. They might say, what are you doing? Like, take up this job. How do you wade through that uncertainty?
So first of all, anyone who is thinking of getting into digital nomad lifestyle, they should know that it's a marathon. So they need to have a marathon mindset. They should not think of it as a sprint.
Right.
So and one thing that helps you get into the marathon mindset is to have a bigger why. Start with a why. Be very sure why you want to go nomadic, why you want to be a digital nomad. People have different reasons for it.
Yes.
So find your reason, find your why, and that will be the driving force for you.
Yes, I think the why is very important, and people underestimate it. People want to go to what, then the how of it. How do I do it? When do I start? What do I do? But I think the question of why do I do it takes a long time to get framed inside.
Exactly. So it makes sense to start with the why.
It's the base, it's the foundation.
So once you have a stronger why, you figure out when, how, where
Coming to the central point of this podcast, which is to help people get into the life that you are living. Can you outline a structured approach to becoming a digital nomad for a person who is in the corporate space, or let's say a student who has a life full of education loans ahead of him to pay back? How can they become a digital nomad in a very structured manner?
So first of all, find out what are the things you are interested in. Okay, you can take a Ikigai test to find out what are the things you are interested in, passionate about, and you can also make money in. Then also find out whether you are better, more independent, as in whether you want to work for yourself or whether you want to find a remote job. So once you find these two things are, I think, will be a good point to start with. Once you have these two things, then you can decide the next steps, whether if you want to build your own small businesses, then you can decide whether you want to start from the scratch, or whether you want to use existing platforms like platforms in creator economy. We have lots of platforms content creators are using to monetize their content.
Can you tell us some of the platforms that people are using?
Sure. So when it comes to creator economy, we had platforms like Buy Me a Coffee. So you can post content and ask people to buy you a coffee. You can monetize in several ways over there. So it's an open platform for all different kind of creators. Then you have platforms like OnlyFans, which started with slightly adult content, but now it's a platform for all kind of creators. Then we have platforms like Airbnb, Amazon, everyone is aware of. On Airbnb,
Absolutely.
You can share your online experiences. You can host online experiences. You can also be a Airbnb house host, be part of the share economy.
Right.
On Amazon, you can be an Amazon dropshipper, and you can use Amazon FBA business.
In Bangalore, I saw apps which help you, on websites which help you go get a meal at someone else's house, and like a home cooked meal and stuff. Because of the pandemic, everything's shut down. But I'm sure these things are going to.
So here is the thing. You go to the site called Product Hunt and search for Airbnb for X, and you will find all the tools for share economy.
Okay.
Similarly, there are categories like Uber for X, and you will find all the different apps, which is like Uber for X is like Uber for all different purposes, right? Airbnb for X is Airbnb for all different purposes. So sharing house meals is nothing, but it's just an example of Airbnb for X.
What sort of tools or books you would recommend for people who want to do something of their own and get into this lifestyle?
Okay, I would say 4-Hour Workweek would be the ideal book to start with. So 4-Hour Workweek is Bible for digital nomads. Then I would recommend $100 Startup, which talks about how you can start a small business for $100 or less. I would also recommend this book called The Happiness of Pursuit by Chris Gillibeau. So Pursuit of Happiness is a movie I'm sure everyone have heard of. Happiness of Pursuit is a book which talks about how having a life quest shapes your life, why it's important to have a life quest in your life. So earlier we were talking about having a why. I think reading this book will help you find your why. And it's a book where you will find different people sharing their different life quests. So it's like a case study. Apart from these 3 books, I would also suggest guys who want to be a digital nomad should go to Product Hunt and search for digital nomads so that they can find all the apps which will help you transition into this lifestyle. For example, digital nomad gears, digital nomad communities. Right. So there is a stack for digital nomads. You can find digital nomad stack on Product Hunt.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of support online that people just don't know about. Like right now, there's this whole no code thing that's going in, and in the next few years, I think there'll be a lot of apps and a lot of websites and stuff that will be developed by people without any knowledge of coding.
Absolutely.
Because these platforms give you the way to do it.
Exactly. So there has been democratization in design space. There has been democratization in coding space. So it has become relatively way easier to become a creator and monetize your content. It has become way easier to be on your own and start a passion project and be more independent, be a solopreneur. Also, while we are discussing about it, I think we should discuss about how work as a term is changing, how work is changing. So what I'm seeing is that work is no longer something that you do to support your life. Work is an extension of who you are. Work is a way to express yourself. And also work is something which is getting fluid. Earlier, work was something that you do from 9 to 5. But now you would find there are people who have different type of arrangement with their employer as well as with themselves. So they are working with multiple employers at the same time. They're working on their passion projects. This is the future of work. And this is the future of work which is supporting the digital nomad lifestyle. So earlier, most of the businesses were hiring people within 25 miles radius of where they were, but now they can hire people from anywhere. So that has been a big leap,
There was a news report that I saw which said that Paytm is actively trying to hire employees from tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Absolutely. And also recently what has happened is that there are big businesses which made it clear that no matter where you are living, your pay would not depend on the location. For example, Gumroad mentioned it that whether you're working in California or whether you are in Bangalore, you'll be paid the same amount. That is a very big decision, and I'm sure the other businesses will follow.
Absolutely. This is like the evolution of outsourcing into something that is more egalitarian now.
Yep. It's like earlier also remote work option was there for certain businesses, but then most of the businesses would not let their employees have the geo arbitrage. But now this is an immense geo arbitrage. If you're living in Nigeria or India and if you're making the same amount of money that you would make in Bay Area.
Yeah, I think geo arbitrage is one of the key principles of being a digital nomad.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like if you can find an employer, if you can find a client in the first world country, and you can find a nice location in the third world country or nice location anywhere in Southeast Asia or South America to work from, then bingo, that's all you need.
In your opinion, let's say there's a person who's a coder and wants to get into a digital nomadic lifestyle. What is the timeline that they should think of, and how should they phase their whole journey towards being self-independent?
I feel like all of us can just take the jump. We can jump and build our wings on the way down. So I don't think that we require much of a preparation in order to transition into this lifestyle. For example, someone who is a coder can find a remote job on platforms like We Work Remotely or platforms like remoteok.io. Once they find a remote job, that's it. They are ready to go wherever they want to, and they can work from there. In case they are not comfortable about it, they can start with locations which are closer to where they are living. For example, if you're in India, you can start with places like Goa, Himachal Pradesh, lots of hill station in South India that you can work from.
There are so many things, there are communities, there are tools, there's so much support structure for somebody who wants to go on their own and do their own thing. Before winding up, if you can just tell us about Small World and cultural immersion and work stays and the amazing things that you're doing in Bangalore.
Sure, Shrey. So Small World, cultural immersion, work stays, these are my passion projects. Small World is an experiential stay place in Bangalore where you can teleport yourself to country of your choice. So we have studio apartments designed after different countries. It's ideal for staycation. So let's say if you get into the Mexican room, you can see the Mexican art, you will see Mexican souvenirs, there are Mexican books and cards, and you can also order Mexican meals. So it's a great way to travel without actually taking a flight.
Wow.
Yeah, Cultural Immersion is a community for culturally curious people. So where we talk about everything about cultures from around the world, from cuisines to traditions to games to arts. It's a community that we are hosting on Discord. So it's ideal for everyone who want to explore the world from their living room. So, it's like traveling is not something that you have to go to a place to experience it. The travel is all about being curious. And so that's Cultural Immersion. Workstays is a community of digital nomads. So I noticed that the digital nomads is a growing trend, and I felt like we need a community for digital nomads who are in India, because the best way to bring them together, best way to enable more people embrace this lifestyle is to build a community. So it's a community where Indian digital nomads can live, work and play together offline as well as online.
Awesome. So any parting thoughts?
So yes, I would suggest that earlier digital nomadism was a choice, but now it's more of a compulsion, as in most of the employers, they want their employees to go remote. So I think it's better if we learn about it and we embrace it. and there has not been a better time than 2021 to be a digital nomad. And anything that you require, you can get in touch with me. You can contact me on Instagram. My handle is Indian Digital Nomad, and I'm more than glad to help.
That was amazing, Saurav. Thank you so much for coming here and speaking with us. It was great to host.
Thank you, Shrey. I had an interesting time. It was a lovely conversation. Thank you.